everybody, this is Bob from Buckeye Sports Center. Today I'm really excited to talk about the Barletta Corsa. This is a new model for 2021, and there's a lot of cool things about this particular model, but it really gives you kind of a sporty but yet the same elegance that you normally will find with Barletta, but a little bit different styling, a little bit more unique, and really premium high-end boat. But it's actually comes in below the L class, which is previously Barletta's high-end boat. It actually is a little bit lower price point than the L class. So there's a lot of value here for a really premium pontoon. Let's take a look. So first thing I'm going to talk about, a couple new things for Barletta. We've got this matted finish on the fence panel, as well as obviously the black rail. So a really clean, nice look. You've got the blue, which will actually tie in a little bit to the interior. But overall they do a good job on the anodizing of the rub rail all the way down to the M-frame brackets that attach to the pontoon log. So overall, just a ton of elegance, really great cosmetic look to the boat. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the construction of the Barletta. There's other videos that talk about this, but they use a VIP technology, which basically means that there's a rubber pad in between a lot of the contact points where you typically have metal on metal. And what that really does for the customer is just makes the boat feel a lot smoother. You don't have as much of that tinny sound or that rattle that you normally would get in a pontoon boat, particularly when you get into a tri-toon with higher horsepowers, higher speed. In addition to that, everything that Barletta does is just super heavy duty. That's why they're kind of the kings of the market right now on the high end. So heavy duty cross members, heavy duty welds, everything's just kind of overdone. Stainless steel everywhere. And then the other thing they'll talk a little bit about, which again we mentioned in other videos, but just the sophistication of the tri-toon setup. Obviously you've got skinning, great fit and finish on the tri-toon all the way through. But if you look at the spray rail or the performance lift strakes there, you see it's almost like a step, which is kind of similar to what you'd find on a fiberglass boat. So by having that multi-level step, you get a little bit extra lift in the Barletta and a little bit extra performance. So even though the boats for Barletta typically are heavier than the competition, you still get similar performance characteristics, and certainly just from a smoothness perspective, really they're second to none with the overall performance and handling of their tri-toon boats. Okay, so as we move inside the Corsa 23, one of the things that people notice right away on Barletta is just how awesome and how greatly utilized the transom area is with the rear extended deck. So that's standard on all Barlettas, but it really is pronounced here on the Corsa. So more or less, you think about a lot of boats, they'll cut off the rear deck about right here, but from Barletta, you almost get an extra 2 feet of bonus deck on either side of the engine. So that makes the boat really feel more like a 25 or even a 26 footer instead of a 23 footer. You also notice on here, again, we've talked about the stainless steel hardware. It's just a super heavy duty, easy entry ladder, just a really high-end ladder there with stainless steel. You see the cleat, the pop-up cleat there along the port side and starboard side, where you have the pop-up cleats where you don't clip a rope or a tow on the cleat that's popped up. Really heavy duty ski tow bar. And then this particular boat is equipped with the Mercury 150 horsepower engine. I believe on this setup you can actually go as high as either 250 or 300 horsepower. So this particular setup is kind of designed with the 150 to have good entry-level tri-toon performance for somebody that doesn't want to go all the way to the big 250 or 300 horsepower motor, which is a very popular size for our tri-toons, is that 150 to 200 size to get good overall performance without going overboard for horsepower or cost. So I wanted to point that out. And then last thing I'll talk about here is the fuel. You have a direct fill fuel on the Barletta, so you can actually fill it from either side of the, if you pull up to a gas pump, you can actually get to it from either side. You can get through it from the transom area here. And the other thing is it doesn't have that feedback that you normally would get. People who've maybe had older pontoons, they filled it up and then they kept getting feedback because usually they have weird way that the thing actually gets into the fuel tank, so it usually would always fire back at you all the time, but you don't get that on this direct fill tank from Barletta. So another thing that doesn't really ever think about, but it is a consumer benefit feature that Barletta offers. So as we move inside the interior cockpit of the Barletta, this model is called the Corsa 23Q. So Q basically stands for quad seating. So basically there's 4 couches, 2 in the back, 2 in the front. One thing that you notice on this Corsa that's different than say when you look at the C-Class boat, which is the class below the Corsa, is that the Q configuration has this really cool kind of multi-use port side seat. So this particular, you know, it kind of looks almost like a little club chair right now, where you've got a kind of a captain, co-captain setup. But if I wanted to sit in this chair and face backwards, I can just flip that seat like that and kind of have a layback seat where I can, you know, face backwards, or I actually can pull it all the way down to kind of create more of a full bed as well. And then, you know, excellent fit and finish on the upholstery, you know, cup holders everywhere. This particular boat has both interior and exterior lighting packages, so you have that included, you know, but you look at this total length of this port side, you know, couch area or lounge area, and you really maximize. I mean, this is like something you'd find in a 27-foot boat. So it's just a ton of space, a ton of seating, you know, and a great fit and finish. When you get into the Corsa, you get a little bit more of a sporty interior, as you see. This particular one, to kind of match the outside, we have the blue piping and the blue, just a little bit of blue hints and accents on the stitching. That's also available in a red as well. And then the standard setup, it would be like more of a gray and black setup. So you can get the blue accent, you can get the red accent, or you can get, you know, more of a standard gray or black accent. So just making this boat a little bit more sporty, a little bit more, you know, just gives it a little bit different look than some of the other Barletta models. So moving to the helm station area, again, Barletta always does a great job on their helms. I really like this one. Obviously, kind of has the same along the lines of the other, you know, characteristics. The Corsa being a little bit more sporty, a little bit more race car like. So you kind of have a slimmer, you know, not quite as wide as maybe some of the other models, but it, you know, also gives you more cockpit space. But you know, everything that you need is you know, got little stainless steel billets on here and stuff like that. You know, instead of having, you know, flip switches, you got push button switches. You've got your traditional gauge package. And you know, some digital features on the dash there as well. And then you also have, off to the right here, you actually have a GPS, which is an optional feature on this boat. GPS kind of set up, you know, with the SIMRAD, and then all of your stereo controls, you know, with the premium Hertz sound system as well. Just little things like the throttle control, I always point out, is in a nice convenient spot where I'm not hitting my knee on it. It's not in a weird spot where I have to maneuver my arm in a weird area. And then this is also a good chance to point out the which is standard on all of Barlettas, is the electric power bimini. So, you know, rather than having that awkward lifting of the bimini up, or when you're trailering, stuff like that, this is all electrically controlled. So that's a standard feature on all Barlettas, but it's always important to point out, because one thing with Barletta that's hard to decipher, but you get on the website of a lot of pontoon companies, and all of a sudden you start building a boat, and you get real overwhelmed real quickly. With Barletta, the vast majority of all the features are standard on the boat. You don't have to add them. And that really makes it a lot easier for us to sell it. It's easier for the customer to understand. There are options for this boat, but it's probably a list of maybe 10 to 12 options at most, versus the 60 or 70 that other brands offer. And the reason is Barletta just says, you know what, everybody's going to buy it with pop-up cleats. Let's just make that standard. Everybody's going to buy it with, you know, different other things that are standard on the boat. Even the power bimini is something you'll not find standard on a lot of boats. It's usually an upgrade. So, you know, the nice thing about Barletta is all that's included. So, you know, you look at the price point and you say, oh, it's a good boat for the price or whatever. But when you see all the extra stuff you get on that boat, and then you do a comparison, then that's where Barletta always kind of comes out ahead. Okay, so we move over to the port side. I'll point out a couple things that you might have seen on other Barletta videos. Obviously, I'm sitting in this kind of club chair setup, which is a real comfortable, nice chair. We saw the different, you know, ways you can make that chair work. But, you know, this is a cool feature from Barletta with this kind of serving area table that just pops up out of the couch. It's kind of out of the way. It's quick and easy to pop up. It takes about 5 seconds to pop it up, which is really nice. Since this is a tri-tune, we do have a ski locker built in, you know, nice deep, you know, roomy ski locker built into the center tube. You know, always a good feature. Again, Barletta does gas assist shock on here, you know, good water management around the edges of that, nice heavy duty door. And then another feature you'll find on Barletta is the doggy dish, which has kind of become a cult favorite for Barletta owners, with the little doggy dish tray there. And then on this one, the Corsa, this has a unique kind of glove box setup area with access to some fuses as well. You know, so if you want to throw your wallet or cell phone, get it out of the way into a closed compartment, you kind of have a built-in glove box here. So again, excellent space utilization on this Barletta Corsa. So lastly, we're going to move into the bow of the Corsa. Again, this is a 23-foot boat, and we talked about how long the benches were in the back, and we also have really long benches here in the bow. And again, that real sporty inspired, you know, almost like a Porsche or something like feel to the upholstery and the seating. You've got the flip down armrests to make it a little easier to sit. They're a nice wide seat, so they're wider than like what you'd find on the C-Class Barletta. And then other little things like, you know, having these really cool speaker grills. Stainless steel speaker grills is kind of part of the standard package. Also, you've got your cup holders, an area to throw your phone down here on the side. You know, obviously you've got your cell phone. You know, your USB plugs for charging like everybody always needs. So just little user-friendly things that you normally find, you know, that normally you won't find on a boat like this. But again, Barletta does a great job with their, you know, space utilization and things like that. I'll point out also how heavy duty, you know, things like the gate rail is, just super heavy duty, rather than just having like a little plastic thing at the bottom that holds the gate in place. You've got that extra safety and extra features of that, you know, just that extrusion that just is really heavy duty looking. And then a rare feature that I haven't seen on anybody else's boat is the anchor storage. So you've got a built-in little anchor storage, or, you know, you can store whatever you want in there, but again, you know, right in the bow area to just kind of have an additional storage compartment that's kind of out of the way. That's built into the center tube ahead of the ski locker. So just a lot of cool things to talk about on this Barletta Corsa. Thank you guys for checking out the Barletta Corsa with us at Buckeye Sports Center. For more information to, you know, view this boat and other boats in our inventory, visit buckeyesportscenter.com. If you like this video, subscribe to our YouTube page. We've got all kinds of different videos, pontoons, and all different types of boats from 14 different brands that we'll do videos on. We appreciate you taking the time to learn about Barletta with us, and have a fun time on the water. Thanks for viewing.